teams have been getting recognized nationally, especially your men's team. They've been a mainstay in the top 25. Do the teams kind of look at that? Do they feel the pressure maybe a little bit?
They do, and sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. If you use that as a motivator, then that's a good thing. If you start to believe your own hype, then sometimes that's a bad thing. So we try to reward them when they're doing well. We've been top 10, as high as the top 10 with our men. Right now we're currently sitting at 17th, I believe, and we just use that as a motivator. If you want to improve, our goal is not to be 17th. Our goal is to go after a national championship and an SEC title. So we keep motivating them with that, but it could be a good and a bad. I think they've worked really hard to receive a lot of the honors and accolades that they've gotten this semester, and we're going to keep pushing forward, and this Duke meet is really what's going to kind of kick off this final stretch into SECs.
Yeah, and do you have the older ones that are on the team kind of helping the freshmen? They've had a lot of success. You've had freshmen that have kind of kick-started and been able to keep the competition alive. How have the older, more experienced swimmers been able to help the freshmen?
We're a young team. We have a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores, but the juniors and seniors that we do have are very good leaders. And so they do kind of step into that role, especially coming off the training that we're coming off of. That's really where our senior leadership comes into play, because if you don't have good, solid leaders who have kind of walked this walk before, it's real easy for a freshman to get overwhelmed during this time of year. And so we rely a lot on them, and we do spend a lot of time kind of coaching our athletes to a point where they understand what's coming up and what is expected of them. And this, like I said, is leading into our final push going into SECs and NCAAs.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about experience, but then you also have freshmen. I think on the girls' side, it's McKenna Keith and Emma Barksdale, and then on the guys' side, it's Jack Smith and Cody Beckmeyer. And you have other freshmen that are just really stepping up and having a great season. What does it mean to have freshmen like that are already 5 meets in having a season like that?
We work really hard in the recruiting process to try to bring in that sort of student athlete. And so on the women's side, we have seen some huge success from Emma Barksdale. She's one of the fastest 400 IMers in the nation right now. McKenna Keith is a young lady who has really just hit the ground and blown up when she got here. She's embraced the training. She trusts what we're doing. She's seen great results. And the best thing about her really is I don't think she knows how good she can be. So sometimes that's a huge benefit as a coach. But then also Paige Maynard. We've got so many young freshmen that have come up on the women's side. Men's side, same thing. Cody Beckmeyer has established himself as one of the top milers in the nation already, and trains every day with Akram Mahmoud, and those two with Tom Parabonio and Travis Moore, and they make each other better every day. So we have a culture within our program right now where that's the expectation. You come in and the upper class really start to feed into these freshmen saying, look, this is what we have to do if we're going to be successful. And they've really bought into that. So it creates a good environment. It makes it easier on the coaches really when you've got a team that is really locked on to what it is we're trying to accomplish here.
And that's just 5 meets into a season. Yes. And so I think a lot of swimming is building up that fitness. So yep. Later in the season, you're seeing those peak performances. As a coach, how do you kind of gauge that progression and make sure that they are seeing those peak performances later in the season?
Well, you really look close at our Georgia Tech invite and how they responded to the first semester training. And then you see where they are going into this Duke meet. You see where they are in response to the high volume training that we're going. We have some, our distance group topped out at about 100,000 a week over our break. And so that's a lot of yards, a lot of miles in the pool, and that includes, that doesn't include lifting, that doesn't include the things we do outside the pool. So it's a really taxing point. So you see how they respond to that. We'll use the Duke meet for that, and then we're really going to focus more second semester on race strategy and really fine-tuning their races and the details going into SECs. And we've been pretty good. We were great last year at predicting how they were going to be going into SECs and NCAAs and really hitting that window where they're going to be their fastest. And it is a pretty scientific process, but there is also a lot of instinct to it, and we've got a lot of experience on our coaching staff, and they really know how to read our athletes, and our athletes feel comfortable coming to our coaches and talking about how the training's going. So right now things are good. I really like where we are, and I think going into the weekend our guys and our girls are ready to get back and race again. That the training that's hard, and so they like the racing is the fun part, going out and winning races, so that's what they're ready to do.